Hey guys, welcome back. This is Jury or Garage. I'm Davis, and today we're going to be continuing on doing the electric power steering swap and 8-rib belt conversion on my 2008 Mustang GT, my supercharged 630 swap Mustang here. And we have the electric power steering rack here. Last video we pulled the old one off, as well as some of the belt drive from the old 8-rib, or sorry, the old 6-rib setup. So we got the alternator, custom alternator pulley on, supercharger pulley, some 8-rib pulleys. Now what's left is the crank pulley and the AC pulley. I don't have the tool yet. I bought a new impact wrench for the crank bolt because my Milwaukee M12 isn't strong enough. Also, the batteries are smoking, and one even shocked me a couple weeks ago. I could take out the radiator to just give me some more room. I do have a bigger impact, but it's really large, just wouldn't fit in here. I would need much more room. I could also put the car on the ground, put a breaker bar on the bolt, and then turn over the engine. We've done that a couple times, but I don't want to try to avoid that if possible. What I'm going to be focusing on today is the AC and some other things that need to be done, like getting the rack on. That'll be pretty easy. It's just sliding it in and then the two bolts here. And I tried measuring the tie rods from the old one. I did notice that the rack I bought actually doesn't have the nut, so I do have to take these off and transfer them, I believe. So also gonna work on that, throw on the power steering rack, get it all hooked up, gonna start getting to work here. So got my intercooler line kind of out of the way. You can see the AC compressor there. Basically just take off that center 8mm bolt, and then the front face comes off, and there'll be a C-clip behind it. They just remove the C-clip, and some people online say that it's supposed to just slide off really easily. I might need to get a puller for it, so we're just gonna see how that goes. With the, fans out of the way, there's just plenty of room to reach it. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the belt here, just so we have that room. And then, just gonna take off that center bolt and see what I can find. See if it's gonna be an easy process. It's like I'll need to somehow get it to stop spinning and hold it. Well guys, I got the bolt out and I think it broke in half or something. Like, that is really annoying. Yeah, it did in there. So I got that off, but I need to grab that shim. But as you can see, it broke off in the center. That's kind of annoying. All right guys, so the bolt that was stuck in there, I went ahead and drilled out completely. Basically, I couldn't get a good center drilling on the, to use an extractor bit, so thought might as well go up to a bigger size. The new splined front part actually has threads in there, and it's a M8 by 125. I have plenty of M8 by 125 bolts, and I have a tap for it, so I drilled it out. Unfortunately, I do not have a big enough drill bit. The biggest one that I have is a 9/32, which is, this bit is just not good enough to cut through the steel. These black oxide ones are perfect for it, but I don't have the right size for it, so gonna have to wait on that. I'm buying a new one. Once that's done, I'll just drill and tap the center. So with that, I'm waiting on two things. One, to pull the crank bolt. I need the stronger impact, and then the drill for that, because that's a real tough break, having snapped that bolt. I don't know why they put so much thread locker or why this would break off. It's not like it was rusty or anything. Kind of stuck there. I'm gonna go ahead and put the sway bar back on and probably try fitting up the steering rack, because that's something I can do. And it'll be a good next step, just putting this guy in for good. All right guys, I got the sway bar on. I'm gonna go ahead and start transferring over these nuts to the other steering rack, because this one didn't come with them. So just gonna break this loose here, take off the outer tie rod, steal the nuts for over there. Alright guys, as you can see, the power steering rack's in. I got this one just partially threaded. This one though does not totally line up so far. It's gonna be really hard to see in there. Let me see if I can get the light just right here. But the bolt is not lined up with the hole, and it's because the rack is interfering with the subframe right here and right up here. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is probably take the rack out and then just like Dremel some of this just those two areas, and then this should clear no problem. I've not read about this being a problem before, so it's kind of weird. You can go ahead also get the tie rods lengthened to whatever they need to be. I can show you guys how to do a driveway alignment, but yeah, I'll get a paint marker, just mark some areas where I need to clearance on the subframe, and this can be basically fully bolted in and steering arm connected up, and then I'll at least have just, you know, manual steering until I get this wired in. All right guys, just got the steering rack in. Just took some finagling, but it's only, you know, the 2 bolts there and then the steering arm, but basically just got the steering arm connected first, and then you do the bolts. That way you can actually slide it into the, you know, U-joint type deal. And then I got the tie rods just loosely connected. I haven't done any alignment at all on it yet. I need to get everything, you know, kind of finalized first. You can tell this one will need to be pulled in just a little bit. Same with this one, they're both kind of pushed out. But that's kind of just eyeballing it. I don't know, like, you know, once I have everything put together and stuff, I'll show you how to do a driveway alignment with some string. But it is all in there. Wheels are, you know, both straight, and the steering wheel is straight as well. So if I turn the wheel, you'll be able to see it moving. Feels smooth. No problem with the rack that I can see. I'm gonna go ahead and be done for today. This is not the end of the video. Probably gonna have some more stuff in the next coming days where I'm going to be putting in the race car services wiring harness. This guy right here. So connects to the 2 connectors off of the power steering unit right there. It'll then route kind of along over this way up through to the wheel well here, route up, and then behind this there's a grommet that enters the firewall or just like into the cabin. 1 wire off of this, the ground. This one, I believe he said, is supposed to go to the strut tower ground, so basically right there. I mean, any ground will do. That's just how he routed it and lengthened the cables for. And then there's 1 fuse tap that goes into the interior. Obviously the red power goes straight to the battery, and then the 2 CAN bus plus and minus. So I'll show you that once I get to it. Real tough luck on the bolt snapping on the AC, so I'm waiting on that drill bit so I can tap it. I have all the other components, you know, just in here. The snap ring, there's a washer, and there's also this gasket or something. I don't even know what it is. Need to get this on. Kind of sucks. Hopefully I don't have to replace the whole AC unit just because of the input spline shaft fit deal is messed up. I don't think it is, but I also have another tensioner on the way, so I'll be able to actually modify that. And then waiting on the impact to take off the crank, and hopefully that won't be too hard. I have a crank puller, but I've heard that these Ford ones are kind of hard to do. But once that's done, I'll be able to just button everything up, get the alignment going, and the electric power steering and 8-rib conversion will be done. So I'd like to take this time to remind you guys to join us as a member down below. It seriously helps us in the channel, you know, progress with our builds, funds them directly, you know, tools, parts, all that stuff. We would definitely appreciate if you guys would join us as a member down below. You know, liking, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff helps too. All right guys, we're back. It's been a couple days. I got the new tensioner in the mail. So this one will be for the outside, because where you put your wrench to, you know, release the tension on there, on the one that's in the car right now, is kind of busted. I got the new Milwaukee impact here, so this is 600 foot-pounds of breakaway torque, so hopefully that'll take care of the crank. And I have the crank puller, so hopefully this OEM Tool 1 works. I've seen some people have problems pulling the crank on these engines, so I'm gonna go ahead and try this guy out here. See if we can break away that bolt. It's gonna be kind of hard to see here. Oh yeah, that was pretty much instant. Compared to the air impact and then the other M12 Milwaukee, this M18 definitely did the job. So hell yeah, that's awesome. Good purchase. There's the bolt there. Gonna keep this washer. I'm gonna go ahead and get the OEM Tools guy in here, and I see there are like nubs on the side for it to grip onto. They're there. It's kind of dark up there, and over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the tool set up. There we go. Easy enough. And yeah, weird that there was RTV right on there. Maybe that's from the factory or something. But the front cover definitely wasn't leaking at all. It looks perfectly clean to me. It looks totally clean, the front seal. So I'm not going to touch the front seal. I didn't even buy a replacement. It was definitely holding, so I'm not even going to worry about it. Just going to send the new one on. This guy is pretty heavy I'm actually thinking the other one is lighter. This one's actually also kind of heavy, so I don't think I'm saving any weight on the balancer. You can definitely see there's a height difference here. I guess it doesn't matter. The actual face from this to this is the same. It's just this has a little bit more meat on the front. And go ahead and line her up here. Double check that the keyway is lined up in there as well. And then I'm gonna do something that probably some people don't recommend. Old bolt and the new one. So this is a Ford part new bolt because these are torque to yield. I'm just gonna slowly drive it in and then take it out, replace it with the actual washer, and then drive it fully in. You can see it going in. See if that's enough. Some might not like doing this because, you know, you only get a couple threads on and then you impact it on. You're afraid you're going to strip out the threads in there, but it seemed just fine. So we're gonna go ahead and send it here. All right, that'll do it. I'm gonna now move on to fixing the tensioner here because this is a better view of what I was talking about. You can see that is really messed up in there because it's just cast aluminum, and if you don't get the tool in all the way, it'll kind of strip it out. So I want to replace that because I don't want to be straight out on the side of the road with a broken belt and can't, you know, get it off. So, and I'm still waiting on the 6.8 millimeter drill that I need to tap, or drill and then tap the AC pulley. But once that's done, that'll be the last pulley that I need to do. Have the 8 rib swap done basically after that. All right, guys, we're back. This is actually again the next day. I'm not sure what I recorded last, but I think I was assembling the tensioner and I broke it. The bolt that was going into this tensioner, it literally just snapped inside here. I don't even know why. It just got really tight real fast and then just broke. So need another new tensioner. But funny thing about that, I just picked up something and it came with a tensioner. So look what I got, guys. I got a spare motor for the Mustang. So plan here is to build up this Mustang, or this motor, with the forged internals and other parts I bought from, you know, up here. So I got some DSS Racing forged pistons, Boss 302 connecting rods, an MMR timing kit, new windage tray, GT 500 oil pump, all the good stuff. Just for like a mild build. I'm not going to be pushing the Mustang huge power-wise, but basically, you know, the motor that will be built, this guy here, will probably be able to handle like 750, 800 wheel horsepower with the rods. I think the connecting rods would be the weak point at that point, but they're forged from the factory, just Boss 302 rods. A lot of people push those really far with their Coyotes, so really excited to get started with this. The reason it's not going to hold so much power is because I'm going for like a real budget build with this. So this motor itself, I got off Craigslist for $500. Came with everything, subframe. I mean, subframe's cut, but came with all these accessories. I could keep the coils or just resell them. These ones are OEM Ford ones, which are really good. Throttle body, intake, injectors, fuel rails, all the accessories. There's the power steering pump, basically everything off this I can just resell. Also debating if I'm going to use these cylinder heads or if I'm going to, when I pull the motor on this, take the 08 cylinder heads because the spark plugs are a little bit different. Might just stick with this, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's in good condition. Basically, the guy who sold it to me said that his boss bought it for him. He was going to swap it into his classic Mustang. Decided he wasn't going to cut up his car and just let it sit. He had to move, so he just listed this thing real quick and I picked it up. So really excited with this purchase. These things are huge outside of the car. Looking at this, like, it is massive compared to an LS motor that's right over here. I mean, obviously the cylinder heads are off, but this is way bigger. Even Project F's motor over here. Look how tiny that thing is in comparison. It's like half the size. It's pretty crazy. Basically, just need to get the block and probably cylinder heads to the machine shop if I'm going to reuse those. And then get it bored out 20 over for the pistons. Get it all decked. And then measure for rod bearings and crank bearings. This also has the part that I need since I broke the other tensioner. I'm gonna pull this guy off. Grab that by hand so it doesn't fall. It's a little rusty and oxidized, the aluminum, so probably gonna take a wire wheel to it just to clean it up a little bit. But this is an OEM Ford part, so gonna use it. Alright guys, got the new tensioner on. I cleaned it up so it looks all nice. Got my alignment mark. So once the belt's under tension, you use that to set your belt tension. I'm now going to probably just start assembling everything. I still have the AC. The center input needs to be
drilled and tapped for the M8 by 125. Even if I get like the plate in there splined up and hold it by hand, it's really hard to twist it to actually start tapping it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pulley on and then the belt on, and that'll give it way more resistance, so when I'm, you know, drilling it and tapping it, it won't spin. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the pulley on. Basically I'll just get some WD-40 in here and kind of slide it on. I might need to get like a block of wood and kind of tap it on. I did try before and it's kind of a little tight fit, so we'll see about that. Alternatively, I might be able to I want to heat up the pulley because it does have, you know, the center part in there. Like heating it up would make it expand and make it slide on easier, but it is a bearing, so probably want to avoid that. But yeah, I'll try sliding this on first, get the C-clip in, and then from there I will go ahead and start tapping it, drilling and tapping. All right guys, got the new pulley on. I just got a block of wood and just tapped it on and it went on super easily. Now just got to get the C-clip here and get it on there so it'll be secure. And then basically the 8 rib is done, minus the actual front clutch. Like I could run it like this, the C-clip will hold the pulley in. I just won't have AC, which, I mean, it is winter right now, so that's not the biggest problem in the world. Worst case scenario, I replace this AC unit with a GT500 unit. That's 10 rib already, and it's a straight replacement. So might do that, just depending. It's just expensive and I don't want to have to put in more money into this. But yeah, we got the 8 rib balancer on, 8 rib AC on, 8 rib alternator, supercharger, delete the power steering, and go ahead and try getting this belt on now. All right guys, got the whole belt system on. You can see it's routed down to the AC, up over the supercharger, on the idler here, to alternator, to the water pump, down around the crank. So I'm going to double check the belt routing. I believe that's supposed to be correct. Unfortunately though, right now there's no belt tension. You can see this mark right here. Basically you want the lever arm to go down, so it'll make a distance between the two. You need to measure that. It needs to be between 15 to 20 millimeter preload for this to be accurate. So definitely does not look like I'm there yet. Also, I think I do need to space out the tensioner. Need to add some washers behind this to space it out, because as you can see, the belt is right on the edge. Actually, I think I just need to flip it. I think I just have the pulley backwards. I might do it. And then still obviously have the input shaft down there to tap. So we'll try to do that. It kind of is in the way with the tensioner here, but I kind of need it so this whole thing doesn't spin when I try to go for it. I'm gonna get all these intercooler lines and radiator lines out of the way best I can, just so I have as much room as I can to work on this properly. All right guys, well that was a huge ordeal. I just finished up with the AC. I had to use, I believe it was like the 5/16 drill bit, whatever is the 7.9 millimeter, because I just could not get the 8 mil by 125 tap to just start. But once I had that, it was basically enough to get threads on there and for it to bite. So I put a bunch of thread locker on the bolt in the center there and just tapped it in with the impact very lightly, and it seems good. It's gonna spin straight, doesn't feel like it's off center or anything like that. So with that guys, I basically have the whole 8 rib swap done. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the tensioner back off and flip this pulley because it is facing the wrong way. And then I'm probably gonna mess with some of the pulley orientation. I'm thinking I'm gonna need to get a 8 rib 90 mil for this one right here. Basically there's just zero belt tension on this thing, so I'm gonna go ahead and start just messing around with this. I have a bunch of pulleys over here, but I don't have any 8 rib 90 mil. Basically just need a big one of these, so might need to order something. But all in all, completely done. It looks way better with this shorter belt. Really excited to fire it up, but obviously still have to get everything situated there. And then I need to get the electric power steering rack wired up. Need to route the cable up through here, through the fender well. Behind here there's like an opening through the firewall into the cabin, and then give it power, give it the CAN bus, positive, negative, whatever it is, then we'll be able to test this thing out. All right guys, I think I got it as far as I can go for today. So I swapped the 90 mil that was sitting here to this position because it allows me to get a bit more belt length down here. If I put this on the top of the lowest setting, it touches the belt here. So I did the 90 at the top, or the bottom of the top settings. There's 6 settings basically, so this is number 4 setting, and it fits pretty good. It gave us like a millimeter of belt tension, So I will need to get a 90 mil for this one at minimum, and then I might even need a shorter belt with this system. So I might need to look into that, maybe like half an inch shorter. You have to go in very small increments. I learned this with Project F when we were figuring out the belt length for that motor over there. I went through like 10 different belts just trying to find the right one. So I'll have to do it very incrementally. These are expensive belts, so you know, kind of is what it is. But AC's on, like the whole belt system is basically done. I could run it like this, I just wouldn't go wide open throttle. It'd be enough tension to drive everything, and everything looks straight. I mean, camera doesn't really show you very well, or just pictures. Like, it's kind of deceiving in some ways if you're just looking at it, but everything looks straight. I don't foresee any problems with this, and it looks really good. Kind of want to just fire it up to see how it runs. Still a lot of cleanup to do. Still want to take care of these old power steering lines that are sitting there, but way more room here just for everything, which is pretty awesome. And then we still need to do the Race Car Industries wire kit for the power steering, but we are coming down to the wire on this. It is you know, you're finally seeing it here, which is really awesome. So tensioner looks way better now that I cleaned it up. It's all shiny. Belt system looks great. So I think I'm going to end it off here right now, and we'll pick this up again tomorrow, where hopefully we can get the whole wiring done on this thing and just put everything together, button it up for good. I'll probably just go to an auto store to buy a 90 mil 8 rib, just so I don't have to wait on shipping unless I can get it overnighted. But man, this is really coming together really close. Super stoked to have electric power steering, 8 rib belt setup, and man, it looks so good. And super excited for this new motor that I'm gonna be building for the Mustang. So gonna be getting some forged internals, Boss 302 rods, forged pistons, GT 500 oil pump gears, all the good stuff. And yeah, super excited for this thing, this giant engine here. So guys, if you want to support the channel through all this, you know, got a lot to do, especially with this guy, got to bring him to the machine shop, a lot of expenses. If you guys want to support the channel and help us out, join us as a member down below. You get some special perks. You can also just, you know, watch our videos, comment, like, all that stuff helps us out. And we do appreciate you guys watching so much. So be sure to catch us next time. We're going to have more progress on the Mustang here, Fiero. Well guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.